Welcome to the Books for Athletes podcast with your host, the publisher, Mr. Kelly Cole. Mr. Cole, a former athlete and best-selling author himself, has set out to take you behind the scenes of some of sports' forgotten heroes. He sits down with former professional athletes, college athletes, and sports coaches as they share stories of triumph, defeat, dedication, and perseverance. Here's Kelly.
What's up, everybody? It's the publisher here, Mr. Kelly Cole. Welcome to another episode of the Books for Athletes podcast. Today, I got a special guest in the building, the magnificent radio host, speaker, what else? Entrepreneur, best-selling author. I got my homie, JayCee. What's up?
What's going on, brother? What's going on, man? I'm glad I finally made it on,
Thank you so much for agreeing to do it. You're on the road, you're speaking.
Yeah.
Before we jump into everything, tell the people a little bit about who you are.
Oh, man. Kid from out of DC. Graduated from out of actually Prince George's County public school system. I like to say the best way to understand where I'm from is I laid my head in Maryland, but I was raised in DC, right? So I resided in Maryland, but I was raised in DC and, was a star athlete at one point. Had a failed career due to some unforeseen circumstances that I couldn't control. And everybody has those coaches that, make decisions for them, of course. There's no decision made for an athlete outside of the one that you commit to when you're going to your school. And for me, I didn't have that opportunity. And so, but I'm in so many different spaces now based upon not having that opportunity. That now I look at it like, okay, well, maybe God had a picture that was painted that I just couldn't see. And, I don't like markers. I don't like crayons. And I started not to like waterproof paint. But, after a while, it was like, listen, I just need you to see where I'm taking you so we can get there. So sneakerhead, radio personality. I've been fortunate enough right now to be doing the morning show in B-More's 92Q called the AM Click. So man, a lot of good things, great things happening. A lot of announcements I wish I could say on this interview, but I can't say just yet. But of course, I'm gonna let you know when the ink is dry. You know how that go. When the ink is dry, then you say something.
We want the exclusives.
Yeah, I promise you, I'll give it to you as soon as when the ink is dry. You gonna get them. I promise.
Dope. Well, good stuff. So talk a little bit about what you said, the opportunity that was, taken from you or that you didn't get. So talk about that.
Yeah, man. So coming out of high school, I was one of 6 seniors on my team. And I was the only one that actually wanted to go to school to play ball. And I had a head coach who actually, I say recruited me. And she says that, she just picked up on the area, the kids that was coming in the area. So for me, I looked at that like recruiting. I never forget, she was pregnant watching me in middle school play. And asked me, was I coming to my neighborhood high school? And at the time, I didn't want to go to that school. I wanted to go to another premier high school in my area that was producing so much talent out of the area. And so I ended up going to that school nevertheless, and turned out in my first 2 years, turned out to actually be the best decision I made. And then the last 2 years, same coach, different story, different problem. I'm like, what's going on? So needless to say, I never saw my scholarships, never saw my offers, never had the opportunity to actually go through the recruitment process due to some unnaming type of circumstances that I can't for legal reasons say. And then so after that, I transitioned into college, and at this point, I'm, most people are signing their letters of intent. My letter of intent was to Great Lakes, right? So I never saw the scholarship, and I just knew. And to backtrack just slightly, I was ranked for 3-pointers over men and women in my county, right? So I had the opportunity to shoot out the lights for 7 weeks consecutively, and I'm putting up 20, 30, even 40 ball games, and I'm like, there's no way I'm not going somewhere, right? Now. I went to school in the Carolinas eventually when I went to my first. So it's ironic that I ended up in Carolina, but I wanted to go to Duke, right? So my favorite school was to this day, J.J. Redick, my favorite men's basketball player, and of course Mo Curry, my favorite women's basketball player from out of Duke. And I was like, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna be that's gonna be here, right? And Mo playing for the Mystics is like, yo, like now and I'm from DC. I'm like, yo, I can go and play with Mo. I'm good, right? So you get that dream, man. You get that dream, and I just knew that because I still had that same skill set, and because I was such a hard worker, like you had to kick me out of the gym. I was like, yo, I'm a be able to be that person. And my freshman year on campus, I attended Elizabeth City State University. Small school right outside of 45 minutes from like Norfolk State and TCC, Tidewater Community College, Hampton. So it's like rail under the radar, maybe an hour and a half from East Carolina. And so very chill, very quaint, but an HBCU nevertheless. And at the time, I hated it because my parents went there. Well, my dad went there, right? So I was like, yo, I'm never going to this school because this man's gonna like know everything I'm doing. I don't want to be here, right? And turned out to be the best thing that ever happened for me, man. So freshman year, I did intramurals because the coach that was recruiting me, once I started finding out all of these other things that I didn't know in high school, the coach that was actually recruiting me, she lost her position 2 weeks before I actually entered into the building for school. So we had started having communication before I got on campus, and then 2 weeks before she lost her position. So the new head coach that came in was like, I don't want to try nobody out because of the team. At the time, the team was like 4-22. And I was like, yo, all right, cool. We can flip this. I already know what was necessary. I'm willing to do the work. Let's figure this out. Let me just get in, right? At that point, I know I'm paying out of pocket. I'm not looking for a scholarship. I'm just like, yo, just give me a jersey, you know? And nevertheless, that didn't happen. Played intramurals, got MVP at 2 tournaments, NC State and Norfolk State. Brought us back from, it was like a 15-point deficit. Brought us back, ended up finishing that game, I think, with like 24. It was like 24, 7 and 2 steals, something like that. So, you know, just balling out of control and trying to get my opportunity and, you know, get somebody to go back on campus and be like, yo, why is she not playing on the squad? Like, what is going on? So that didn't happen. And the transfer portal that is existing today, I wish existed when I was playing, you know? And yeah, man, so I ended up leaving Elizabeth City. I transferred to Bowie State. Had a home girl that actually was on the team at the time. Bowie State was winning. They were in the semifinals every year. They was losing by like maybe 4 or 6 points. I'm like, all right. In my mind, I'm like, now, if I can't get 4 or 6 points, I don't need to be talking about nothing, right? If I can't get 4 to 6 points, we don't need to have this conversation. Right. Yeah, man. So transferred. I actually ended up coming in one time and working out with her before they had practice. So all the coaches ended up seeing me work out with her, and they was like, yo, you go here? Are you coming here? I was like, yo, yeah, I'm coming. I'm transferring in. I'm just waiting on my acceptance out of my paperwork because I had already stayed. In my mind, I'm out. I'm gone from Elizabeth City. Like, I'm gone. I went back in the middle of the semester because Elizabeth City down south starts before up north schools. So down south schools were already in. So I had to go back, go get my stuff, pack up my whole room, move my whole life back to the DMV area so I can be back on campus. And first day on campus, man, she was like, look, when you transfer in, just come see me. My office is upstairs, 4th door on the right. Never forget it, man. That first day, I was upstairs, 4th door on the right. And she's like, look, I love what I saw. And I can't promise you a scholarship, but you have game and I can use you in my program. And I was like, I don't need no scholarship. I just need an opportunity. Just give me the chance. I promise you ain't gonna regret it. I'll get the scholarship. I promise you. I'm not worried about that. And man, I did all that. I worked out with the team, did open gyms and everything for like 4 months. And then 4 months down the line, there was a new athletic director that was hired. And she lost her position. Wow. Lost her position because she held 2 positions. She was the director of compliance and she was also the head basketball coach for women's basketball. And the new AD was like, I don't want nobody having 2 positions. So instead of keeping her in a winning season, he kept her in a compliance situation. And then the coach that was the newest coach on the entire coaching staff became the head coach of the basketball team, which was crazy. Wow. So of course, you know, that means clean house. I ain't recruit you. I don't need you. And so ironically, I was actually on a flight. I had just landed, turned my phone back on. My teammate was calling me. I was like, yo, you're not gonna believe what just happened. As soon as she told me that my coach at the time that I was coming under, basically, was losing her position, immediately I just held my head because I felt like I had just got out of that whole situation when I left Elizabeth City to go to Bowie. And so I was just like, man, this is not gonna work. Like immediately, like everything in me was like, yo, I can't stay here. Like, what am I gonna do? And man, it was crazy. So she was like, no, but the coach asked about you, asked was you staying, what was you gonna do? So when I got back from, I think I went to North Carolina that weekend. When I got back from North Carolina, the coach pulled up on me and was like, yo, I like your game, I like your hustle, I like, how you move and things of that nature. I want you to stay around the team. And I said, okay. And it started feeling a little different, right? Because I wasn't hearing that at first. And I was at Liz. I was like, all right. And he's like, look, mandatory team open gyms. You gotta make sure you pull up Sundays. And I was like, all right, cool. So I did that all summer. And then came back into school. He hands me the preseason workout schedule. He personally did. And was like, yo, come work out with the team. Come do preseason. Now, mind you, technically, preseasons are for the people that's on the squad, right? So in my mind, I'm like, you telling me something before you telling me something, like what we talking about, right?
Right.
And man, I did that preseason. And I'll be honest, that probably was like the most exciting time for me, when most people as athletes, we know, like, we ain't trying to do nobody's preseason. We hate preseason, man. Like you up, and if you don't know what preseason, of course, or haven't done it in a while, 4 a.m. is a typical start time, right? Some schools do 5, some schools do 6. 4 a.m. was my call time. So I had to, I ended up having to be in the gym at I woke up at 4:30. I was in the gym by 5. We were sprinting by 5:30, right? So I did that for 45 days straight, man. And even beat out the mile time for the people that was already on scholarships. We had to run around this loop is what it's called. And you had to beat it in the mile time and everything. I beat that, shin splints and all. Like, I'm in pain. I'm like, no, I need this, right? I'm feeding off energy right now. Like, I need this, man. And by the end of it, he's like, I bet. So it was like, I was waiting for the next steps. And so the next steps was, he was like, all right, well, officially you have to go through the tryout. So I did the tryout. Now, mind you, I put all this work on, did all this recovery, all this other thing. And so the day of the tryout, my shin splint started acting up. And I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna be things that's held at counter. So I'm trying to like run on it, run through it, everything. And they like, yo, you're making it worse by running on it. Like, I never forget it. My teammate at the time, Shanita, she was like, yo, you're making it worse, right? And I was like, man, I gotta play on this thing, man. Like, I need this. Right. They was like, no, just go sit down, yo. You good? Trust me, you good. Like, and I'm thinking in my mind, like, okay, because I put in all this work, you've seen everything. Maybe I'm defeating, you know what I'm saying, the work that I've already put in. So everybody after the tryout, he said, y'all go back to the locker room. And he's like, yo, go ice up. Like, go ice up, go recover, all this other stuff. I said, okay, cool. And so it was probably like a week later, I asked him, I said, all right, coach, what's the deal? He's like, yo, I want you to keep rehabbing, keep doing what you got to do. And then we going to, by conference play, we locked in. Said, that's weird, because exhibition, I need even more chemistry, plays, knowing what we doing, you know what I'm saying? Because at this time now, I'm not practicing. I've been in the same rotation since January of that year, right? That January 2020, we in August, September-ish, right? Well, actually, like, it's like November or something like that, right? Right. I said, okay, cool. Man, January, I never forget it. My first game was supposed to be January 24th in the AC Jordan Arena against Livingstone College. I never forget it, man. And the reason why I never forget it is because my homegirl played for Livingstone. She had just transferred. And me and her, they was trying to recruit me to go to Paul VI, which is a private school up here. And I never forget it, dude. She's like, yo, because Bowie ended up losing that game. She saw me and looked at her teammates and was like, yo, if she was playing, we would have lost. Flat out told her. I said, that's crazy. And so I walked in on that day. I walked in after the game and talked to my coach. I'm like, yo, all right, what we doing? Right? Like, I'm supposed to be playing today. You said first conference game today. Like, what we talking about? He was like, man, look, this stuff is shattered and I want to build a team around you next year.
Wow.
Huh? Now I done put in all this work, man. Bro, I done put in all this work. You feel me? I'm like, I can't. What we talking? Where we going with this? And so I said, confused as I am, my parents are here because I told them to come to the game. I was like, can you explain to them what you just told me? So he said, all right, cool. So I went to go get them. I come back in the office and a matter of 10 minutes, yo, Kelly Cole, I can't make this up, man. 10 minutes, he's like, we only told her that she would make the team if somebody got hurt.
Wow.
And mind you, there was only 7 people on the roster. 15-man roster, 7 people on the roster, you all hurt. Right. Somebody go down, somebody fall out. What you got? You playing with like 4 people.
Right.
So it was chaotic. It was chaotic. I was defeated mentally, gained a lot of weight. I was depressed. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I felt like the game had turned its back on me because I had gave so much to it. Yeah. And, you know, as an athlete, you eat, sleep, and breathe it. Like, that's your life. You don't know nothing else you're good at, you know, because that's what you put yourself into. Now, I won't say I didn't know anything else. I just didn't put my mindset in that category because everything came after ball. Like, everything came after ball. I'm in the Hall of Fame for Girl Scouts. I played drums for artists. I didn't done a whole lot of different things. Like, I a whole bunch of the bowling leagues, everything, right? Ball came first. Everything after that, it was like, all right, cool. That's extracurricular. Those were my extracurricular activities, right? Like, ball was my credits. So, I thought everything was gonna. I thought I was gonna be done, man. I never forget. My mom walked up to me and was like, "Yo, you ever been to Richmond?" I was like, "For what?" Like, in my mind, I'm like, what are we talking about? She's like, well, ride with me. And so my parents ended up getting married in the state of Virginia. So she needed to go get a copy of her marriage license. And also I had lost my grandfather around the same time. So she needed to go get a copy of his death certificate. And she said, you ever been to Virginia Union? I said, nah. She said, well, let's look it up and see how far it is from here. Boy, I can't make this up. We put in GPS. That joint was the next exit up. Wow. So I was like, okay. So my mom was like, you want to go? And I was like, yeah, I guess. Now at this point, I'm defeated. You know what I'm saying? I just put in all this work. Yeah. I heard I want, and at the same time, that same night, the dude told me she'll never be good enough to touch. He told me I'll never be good enough to touch the floor. This is a coach telling me this. Right. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, yo, is it me? This 2 schools, right? And not to mention what happened in high school. I don't know what's happening at this point, man. So at that point, went to Virginia Union, popped on campus. Crazy thing is, the head coach of Virginia Union, she was the head coach that was trying to recruit me to go to a JUCO. And I was like, yo, I can't play JUCO. Like, I was top 4, top 5 percentile of my class. I was coming out senior vice president of the class. I had rankings. I was like, yo, what I like going to a JUCO? Like, yeah, I ain't gonna hold you. Like, you know, JUCOs as an athlete, it's kind of like you cussing them out. You know, you're like, yo, what you talking about? It take a lot to kind of get your mindset right to be like, yo, so you mean to tell me I'm not good enough? I'm not better than none of them people on your roster? Like, so you kind of got to get your mind right to go to a JUCO. So my mind never shifted. I was like, I'm not doing that. So, and plus I didn't want to stay home. And she was the coach at one of the local community colleges in the area. So when she saw me, mind you, she also was a member of my church. So when she saw me, we pulled on campus, we called her, she saw me, she was like, yeah, what you doing over here? So started telling her everything that was happening and all the things that went down at Bowie. And she started telling us, and we was like, hold on. This makes sense as to why I was treated this way. So we got so much backhand information, and we was like, okay, got it. So it started making sense. Because the head coach at Bowie used to be the community college coach at another school before he became the head coach at Bowie. So, and they had community college dealings or whatever because they played a championship game together. So it was crazy how they already knew each other. It was wild. So while we're sitting down, we're talking, she reaches, yo, I can't make this up. As I'm talking to you, you see how I'm dipping like this? This is exactly how she was dipping, right? She pulls out her file cabinet drawer and hands me the recruitment questionnaire form. I was like, yo, fill this out. Like, fill this out. And I was like, I'm looking like, I know this ain't what I think this is. Man, where's the pen? Like, immediately, I got a burst of energy out of nowhere, man. I'm like, let me fill this out. I'm filling this out. And that was the first real moment that I got recruited. Oh. First real moment I got recruited since high school dealings and everything. And so...
Hey, it's the publisher here, Mr. Kelly Cole. Listen, if you are a former professional athlete, if you are a former college athlete or sports coach, and you're looking to launch your speaking career, let me tell you, you need a book. If you're already out there speaking and you want to track more high-paid speaking engagements, you need a book. It's not about creating more content to post on social media. It's not about recording a bunch of videos. It's not about doing more podcasts. The number one secret to attracting more high-paid speaking engagements or even launching your speaking career is a book. Hey, I'm the publisher, Mr. Kelly Cole, and I help former athletes and sports coaches create best-selling books in 30 days to launch their speaking career, even if they hate writing and don't know where to start. So for the first time ever, I've created a free case study video that will not only show you how to write a book from scratch in as little as 30 days and become a best-selling author, it will also show you how to attract more high-paid speaking engagements. Now, to check out this free case study video, click the link that says learn more or go to booksforathletes.com. Real quick before you go, do not go if you're not a former athlete or sports coach, because you won't find any value in what I'm about to share. And don't go if your book is already out and already on Amazon. You won't find any value in what I share over there. But if you are a former athlete or sports coach, know that you need a book, or already out there speaking and you want to launch your speaking career, go check out that link now. Writing a book is not as hard as you think. It doesn't even matter if you don't know where to start. My case study video will show you how to start and get it done and onto the bestsellers list. So go now.
30 days later, I got my date, ended up going to Virginia Union, working out. First day when I walked into my tryout, my old teammate that I used to hoop with in high school had just transferred there from Bethune-Cookman. So when I walked to the door, she was like, oh, hell yeah. Like, she was hyped. So it was like, oh, yeah, I'm in the perfect spot. We finna make this happen. We get in the ring next year. That's my mindset. I'm like, plus I ain't played. So I got like 3-4 years. Like, I can't take an L right now, man. So did the tryout. And mind you, now I'm gonna show you how smart of an athlete I was at one point, bro. Like, so the tryout was against one of the kids that was coming out of high school at the time, a high school senior. I'm like coming in my second semester, sophomore year, going to my junior year. I'm out of shape, haven't practiced the way I normally, you know what I'm saying, would have practiced, the up and downs and everything, because you're not having access to courts and stuff. You got to kind of go and move how you can and do what you need to do. Right. Plus, between the depression and the anxiety and mental, just I'm not there. I won't dare. So I just was like, forget it. I'm not gonna do it. Man, we played. I think we played like 2-on-2 or something, and I think we played like 2-on-2. Played against their guards at the school already. I'm tired. I'm winded. I'm not gonna lie about this. I said, so this is what I started doing. I started coaching. I start coaching in the middle of the tour. I'm like, yo, hold on real quick. Yo, man, if she kick this way, man, like, yo, fake off. And I need you to hit the back door. I'm going to dump it to you. I promise you I'm going to make the pass. I just need you to I'm taking a breather in this moment. Right. I'm trying to catch my breath. Like, I'm like, all right, cool. So she's like, all right, cool. So immediately afterwards, we run the same play. And some said, whoop. So he was like, all you see was all the head coaches, like the coaches go like this at the same time. And I was like, I told you, but meanwhile, they don't know I'm catching my breath. But I was actually helping coach her, not realizing in my mind, I'm trying to catch breath, but I'm also showing my leadership skills. Right. I was team captain. I was already like, yo, I stayed after and put up shots, help people stay after, put up shots. I did all of that, no matter what. So I was like, cause yo, if they not winning, then we can't win, and I need their sauce. You feel me? Like like if I'm the chicken nugget, I need your sauce. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, so it was crazy. And so when they saw that, I saw the coaches' faces like this. Cause in their mind, it's like it's a tryout, it's a competition. So I shouldn't be trying to help this person look better than me. And I'm like, yo, if it's for me, it's gonna happen. I done already been through hell and back at this point. I done heard no. It ain't changed my life. Like it just. I mean, I'm just more depressed at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like, respectfully. So, man, they took her back first after we finished the whole tryout, took her back first, talked to her, and then they took me back. Unanimously, they was like, yo, we want you. And I was like, well, y'all don't have my major. And they was like, well, do you see something that you like? Because we want you. Like, and I was like, well, I only got 2 years left undergrad. We'll pay for your grad school years. Huh?
Wow.
Full rides, bro. Like, I mean, year to year, of course, but you talking like this a private school too.
Right.
It's a privately funded school. So you talking like $32,000 a year for this kid right here.
Right.
Sure, let's do it. I'm with it. All I had to do was I had to meet the requirement of losing 15 pounds in order to sign the deal. No problem. I'm in the parking lot, bro. I'm on coach. I'll be back in an hour and a half. Where you at? I'm calling old coaches. I'm calling old agility trainers, everything. I'm back in the weight room. I'm in my footwork. I'm getting back. I'm in skill positions. I'm in balancing. I'm in chiropractic, recovery, everything. It wasn't, and maybe it probably like, and I still had access to all the trainers and stuff at Bowie. So I was still a student at Bowie at this time, like still doing this. So, man, I still had access to everything. 30 days later, I can't make this up, bro. 30 days later, I got a phone call. Hey, JayCee, how are you? And I was like, I'm doing all right. He's like, yo, so I'm unfortunately calling with bad news. I was like, what you talking about? She's like, yeah, I have to rescind your offer.
Wow.
What you mean? And I mean, bro, tears, bro. I mean,
wow.
I like TLC chasing waterfalls, tears, bro, because I'm sitting here thinking about how I gave it that effort again. And I finally got myself out of this mental space. And I just needed to get to the end line. And I finally got past not being paid attention to, being valued, being respected, being treated like an athlete again, knowing what it was. The team loved me because we met with the team. We ate lunch with them, everything. It was like, you come in here. Like, I had already started building the relationship with the team. And it was just like, what you mean? And she said, she used this excuse. She said, I thought I was looking for a guard, but I was looking for a post player. She said, we miscalculated my red shirts. Now, in my mind, I'm so messed up. I'm not even thinking, how you can't miscalculate your red shirts because you got to report this by a certain date. Right. So in my mind, but I'm not thinking this. In my mind, I'm hearing, yo, I'm not hooping. Like, what you talking about? Right. And you wanted me. All of y'all stood there surrounding me like, y'all, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we had to cook out or somebody about to hem it up if you Greek like me. You feel me? Like, I'm like, what we doing? Man, I lost it. I was in there. I lost it so bad. I was in my dorm room on Bowie State campus crying my heart out, man, because I just knew that this was getting ready to shift for me, and it never shifted. Come to find out 6 months later, I ended up transferring back to Elizabeth City because I couldn't stay at Bowie. I didn't want to be home in the first place, so I just went back as a regular student. And I ended up calling the coach at Virginia Union because I ended up becoming a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and she is a member. Mm-hmm. So naturally, if I'm in your area or whatever, and I just cross, if you made right, you calling people and letting them know what's up. So even though I did not want to make the phone call, I still made the phone call and told them it was good. And she was like, wow. She's like, did you ever figure out? I was like, I don't even want to talk about it. So she ended up coming back. Virginia played Elizabeth City that following semester. And I cornered her at Elizabeth City and I asked her, I said, look, I just need to know one thing. Did the coach at Bowie have anything to do with your decision making at Virginia Union? And she admitted, she said, yeah. So I got my closure from that situation, man. So athletically, my story is crazy.
Right. Yeah. So how did you pull yourself out of, like you said, the depression, and how did you recover after all of that happened? What was the steps?
Honestly, so when I was at Bowie before I transferred back to Elizabeth City, there was an event that took place that I helped create called Peace Week. I've always been in the entertainment industry because both my parents worked in the entertainment industry before they went on to do whatever else they're doing now. And I had never hosted an event, but I had done like party promotion at clubs and stuff like that. And I'll never forget, they asked me to host, and I was just like, all right. I mean, I seen everybody else do it. I guess I can. You don't know. You just like, all right, whatever. Right. And the same day I got the phone call from the coach at Union was the same day I actually hosted that event. So I had to go be ready in 2 hours. So I had to go through my emotions, realize the process in this, and still go be in front of like 500 people. And I'm standing next to who I can now call my big sister in the industry, Angie Ange, and my bro Antonio the Cuban Cigar Smoker. So I'm sitting here like, how I'm supposed to, like, I'm about to go stand next to people that I've idolized, and then on top of that, I got to think about the fact that I'm like, what we doing? That event turned out to be a great day for me, but I never processed it, man. I never processed what was happening because I was still emotionally like thrilled.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, bro, I'm just now really getting out of the depression stage, right? Maybe about a year, two. It's been a 10-year stretch. I can guarantee you that. Oh, I had the suicidal thoughts. I tried to kill myself. I tried to, go down the road of I don't want to be here and I ain't got nothing in my mind. I don't have nothing else to do. And man, I never forget. It was the day my transition really started happening for me. March the 15th, 2019. I got a phone call. I got a phone call, and the call said, "Hey, I just sent you something. You check your email?" And I was like, "All right, let me look." And it was my official offer letter to become an on-air personality for Radio One.
Oh.
And so every year, man, and that's a whole nother story, but every year, man, I was trying to figure it out. And it's so crazy. And I wish we had so much more time, but we probably just have to do like a sit down one day or whatever. But the easiest way to show the trajectory of it is afterwards, after I graduated, I didn't know what I was gonna do. My whole career was wrapped around sports, right? I was gonna go hoop, I was gonna go overseas, I was gonna play in the WNBA, I was gonna become a coach, I was, I'm gonna go be on ESPN, I'm gonna go talk crap, you're gonna do all this other stuff, right? Everything was built around basketball. And I'm just like, I know, you know what? I gotta do something. And mind you, I had to go switch my entire like paperwork as far as my major too, because my major was wrapped into the direction of how I can get around for my classes and stuff too. Right. So when I got hired, I started writing letters to every person that had an involvement in my demise and that made me happy. And I wrote letters to every person. And then I took it a step further and I gave it to them.
Wow. And
my coach that was in high school, who I felt like started this process, man, truth be told, to have a pure green moment in this, man, we have a great relationship today.
Dope.
She apologized to me because I gave her a letter, man. I'm like, yo, she got kids too. She got to process all this too. You know what I'm saying? So I think the letters, being able to write them out, gave me a sense of peace because I had walked around carrying so much of that and thinking it was my fault because, as athletes, the first thing we see the glitz, we see the glamour, we see my family's free. I did it. Everybody got a return on investment, but we don't realize that we don't have to carry that weight. Those are weights that we assume, right? We don't have to carry the weight of thinking that we have to change the trajectory. I go back and I look and I'm like, yo, we still living in a nice house. My parents are over here. We good. You know what I'm saying? Like nothing has missed. So when you realize that nothing around you has missed anything, even though you could have had some help in making things make a difference, you can't control what you can't control. Inky says it the best. You know what I'm saying? I can't control what happens to me, but I can't control how I respond to it. Yeah. So, I think that was the main thing for me, bro.
That's good. Man, that's good stuff. So, which hints, perfect transition to the book.
Yes,
right?
Sir.
Yeah. After the season. So, how did you discover this was part of your purpose and who you were called to help? So how did that come together?
Man, it's funny. Most people would say that they had this figured and it's like they know, they just knew and all that. Man, I can't make this up. I didn't know this was gonna happen. I'm not gonna tell you that I knew this was gonna happen. Right? I think for me it was so I actually joined Game Changers. I'm under E now, and Coach Val, Aisha, shout out to them, shout out to Kansas, shout out the whole squad. Yeah. And when I came in, I already knew how to speak, but I didn't know who I was speaking to. And I was like, yo, I can kill some of these guys. Man, my whole mentality, because I play ball against guys. So I'm like, man, some of these dudes out here, they whack. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm the hood basketball player in me. I'm like, yo, they can't speak better than me. I can speak. I know how to speak. Every time I say like a little excerpt, it might not be put together, but everybody be coming up to me. I have the longest line when I'm asked to be on panel discussions. And you got people over here like my godbrother, Grammy Award winner. It's like maybe 2-3 people. It's like 10 people over here with me. I'm like, why y'all want me? He got money. I don't. Like, what we talking about? And I didn't. And it was in these moments that I realized that I was like, yo, it's not the money, it's the impact, it's the character. And when I jumped in with Game Changers, they helped me break down like who specifically I wanted to work with. And the book really was a process of being able to be in community. And that's how we ended up connecting, you know, and being able to figure out, okay, who is it gonna be? And truth be told, it's funny because so I'll never forget when I first started Kelly Cole, he's like, yo, all right, how fast can you get the book to me? I was like, yo, 3 weeks, man. Like I've been working on this joint already, right?
Right.
That book, that same book that we was talking about, that ain't that book that's you holding in your hand. That book's still sitting on the computer.
Right.
That book, man. The first book is so crazy because the first book, it took me like 6 months to do. That book that's in your hand right now, man. It took me maybe a weekend.
Wow.
A weekend.
Wow.
Wrote the whole book in a weekend. And so, now it's like being able to help them. It's my life. It's me. It's me. And I needed to help me. So I know it's more me's out there. So, but what are the me's? What are the me's defined as? What are they categorized as? Where are they hanging out? Where's the placements of it? All these other stuff outside of the gyms because they're not in the gyms no more. They tired. They burnt out. They don't think they belong there no more. They done gain weight. They depressed. They carry some of that stuff into their marriages, or they not married, or they getting dead end jobs. They not living their purpose. All these other different things. And I'm like, yo, that was me. That was me. Like, and I was like, yeah, I gotta help the me's. So that's how that happened, man. Yo, what up? It's your girl JayCee, and listen, I have to send a special shout out to my guy, Mr. Kelly Cole, and the entire team at Publishing Advantage Group and Books for Athletes. They took so great care of me to the point that I know I'm the pickiest person. This book was supposed to have been finished last summer. However, there were some details that I needed to make sure that the book had because my audience needed it. And, when it comes down to feeding and serving the people, especially as a former athlete and telling your story, you cannot be selfish with the material and give it away. And they worked with me from the time of my thought process to the time of conception, all the way down to now, top 20 hot release best-selling author on Amazon in 24 hours. Listen, if you're an athlete, you have a story to tell, and you don't know how to put it in book form just yet, don't worry, you're not alone, okay? Hit my guy, Mr. Kelly Cole, and tell him what you're trying to do, and I promise you he gonna get you right, all right? And of course, check me out on Amazon after the season. Shout out to the Books for Athletes family.
Thank you so much for checking out this episode of the Books for Athletes podcast. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, and leaving us reviews. And be sure, if you're interested and you want to get your book done, make sure you check out our free case study video at www.booksforathletes.com. Also, if you'd like for me to come to speak to your students or you're having an event and you need a speaker, I would love to be a part of it. Just shoot me an email at booksforathletes.com. Until then, we'll see you on the next episode.